to the Big Cheese AI podcast. Today is September 18th, 2025. This is the Big Cheese AI podcast. I got the guys here with me.
Howdy, friends.
Hey.
Brandon and Jacob. Now, for those of you new to our channel, we have actually crossed a milestone, right, Brandon?
Right, 500 subscribers apparently on the YouTubes.
Which is it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for 2 years, completely for fun.
Right.
We are not getting paid.
There's the only sponsors that we have are anything that we're building and that we talk about. That's about the extent of it.
Yeah, we use it for shorts and posting on YouTube and LinkedIn. Actually, I posted my first time. And it wasn't even this podcast. It's somebody else's. Did you notice that?
And it looked great. I was like, damn, we should probably do this on LinkedIn. But what's so funny is like we do the podcast and then we're done with it and we get it all out there and everybody's just exhausted.
Yeah.
Like, all right, that's good. But yeah, we don't do any marketing, really. Well, you do the shorts. What do you, real quick, what do you use to generate the shorts?
Opus mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been using Riverside for the post productions of these podcasts, and Riverside was really cool when it first came out, but it's just progressively gotten worse, which is unfortunate. And there's a lot of people who are saying the same thing. They just keep adding these weird user experience things. But basically, the whole premise of Riverside is that you can take a raw footage that you recorded, you upload it to there, and then it has like all these AI tools to do the clipping, the cutting, that would give you professional edits and let you do the shorts and things like that. But man, has it just turned into an absolute shit show to where like now I'm having to like wait 20, 30 minutes for the video to finish, and then I download it and it's cut out things that aren't right. So we're now going to try a little different shit.
Yeah. I like Descript.
Oh yeah, I should try that.
It's not the exact same use case, but it's pretty good.
There's specifically an app that I saw on Reddit a couple weeks ago that, and I forgot the name of it, but it basically is literally just an application that lets you upload the audio and then it's going to cut out all of the pauses, because that's kind of the critical part of it, of what Riverside was doing for us, is it just kind of cut out any of the weird awkward pauses or any of the ums or the whatever. But it also cut out our music. It cut out like a bunch of other shit it shouldn't. But this app just literally does that. And then you can just export it to DaVinci. You can export it to Apple's Final Cut or to, whatever Adobe's thing. So we're going to try that.
Yeah. Descript's really good at that too, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah. And it's got studio audio, which isn't applicable for us because we are in a studio.
Yeah.
Or a little makeshift studio. But if I record video at home and like dog bark, truck comes by, it does pretty good.
So it will edit the video as well, and then let you export it out.
Yeah.
And will it do, the 4K or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shit, I might go play with that.
It's it's $30 a month. It does have the same issue that all editing does, where if you have two loud noises and one's you and one's a truck, sometimes it flips the whole thing.
Yeah, it flips the whole thing.
It's kind of few and far between, though.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, one other thing for our setup is we actually stream our podcast to an iPad.
That's
using Nevo, which is Logitech's camera system. So like we have less editing than most other podcasts because I sit here and switch between the cameras. That's why you see a lag sometimes. But that also is something that would allow us to stream the podcast at some point.
And that's something you were talking about last week.
We need to do
let's just fucking raw dog it.
Yeah, we're going to start streaming this. So if you're watching this, like and subscribe, but also tell us if you think that streaming would be fun. And then we could have commenters on the stream.
And you would get like any time that we would stop or screw up, you would actually be watching it probably as well.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're getting into it today. There's a lot going on in AI. I wanted to zero on a few things. Let's start, though, with this concept of regionalized AI adoption. So there's this information coming out about Canada and how Canada is adopting AI faster.
Yeah.
You got any details? Anybody have any good information on what that was all about?
They're Canadian.
Yeah.
And that's probably why, because there's only 14 Canadians total. And that they realized that they could use AI to actually compete on a global level is the only thing that I can assume.
Well, what's funny about Canada is that people think of Canada as like this big, huge country, whatever. there's not that many, relatively not that many people in Canada.
No.
Like you can't really compare. It's like comparing like
41 million.
Yeah, it's like comparing. Finland has the best education system in the world. It's like,
Right.
yeah, there's like 4 of them, and they're all rich. Good for you,
Dude. Every time I get into a debate with somebody where they're talking about, well, like this small country does this and this small country, I'm like, yeah, but we have 300.
We have 300 people,
50 countries, right?
Yeah.
And they can all be independent.
We've got a lot of.
their own
We've
rules.
got some problems. We've got some problems. So, anyways, but there's, I guess. I could see it a couple different ways, but people don't traditionally talk about AI adoption from a nation state perspective.
Right.
They talk about it from a global economic competitive perspective. But there is this concept of an AI workforce, right? Or an AI culture. And, there's going to be I think there's going to be elections that are won and lost in the next 10 years where the nation state leader or potential leader is going to be running on a pro AI or an anti AI agenda potentially.
And I couldn't tell you which one would win. Right. That's kind of the interesting piece is like if somebody runs on an anti AI and somebody else runs on a pro AI, I have no idea which direction.
Did you see the Josh Hawley speech? He's what is he? He's Republican from Nebraska, maybe. He's the guy that he's the guy like saluted the people at January 6th when he was walking by. Or it went viral or whatever.
Right.
But he's anti-AI.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I mean, honestly, when he's doing his speech, it's like, yeah, I mean, some of that stuff's not untrue. He was talking about how like a lot of entry level white collar jobs are going to go away.
Well, and they are. And there is a very fun, and we've talked about this multiple times. There's a very fundamental problem. What's happening right now is where we're saying, well, hey, AI can replace the juniors. And you're like, yes, but how do fucking seniors become seniors?
Right.
Because they are juniors who fuck up and they mess up all these things and you realize all your mistakes and then you go and you do it. So if we're basically ripping out, it almost feels like what's happening here is that AI is kind of ripping out the middle, what's the term? The whole market of America.
Middle class?
Middle class, thank you. Jesus, having a stroke.
I was like, you couldn't be missing that word.
Middle class.
Yeah.
Right? But you see what I'm saying? It's like a similar kind of thing. You rip out the middle class, which was like an engine for America. And now you're ripping out the middle junior people who are really an engine of a company. So it's going to be interesting to see like what happens long term. I mean, we could be cutting off our nose in spite of our face.
Yeah, but is this a fair analogy? We've already seen this before, this one before. All the tradesmen that exist, they're aging out, right? They're getting older and older. It's hard to find and replace electricians and plumbers and all those. And part of the reason is like this proliferation of DIY products at the Home Depots and big box shops, and also pay is a big issue, and like nobody wants to do, there's the other issue of like that just wasn't a desired field to go into.
Right.
So what we're seeing now is there's just a shortage of skilled laborers, right?
Right.
So won't we just have, I would project or suspect that we'll have a similar situation in 5 or 10 years or maybe a little bit longer, but so it's like you just don't have the skilled workers that at that level or the seniors, because it does take time though for that to happen.
Unless the path here is to then ultimately replace the seniors as well, right? And that the objective is just to replace the human in this equation at all, to where now you just have basically product managers who are just talking to AI to build the products.
Well, I think there's a fundamental. I think you're going to see two different things. So, Canada is like kind of like you're a European country. Like if you want to get like a surgery, you got to get on with the wait list, and you got the healthcare. Like we get free healthcare here, right? It comes with, it's a different system, right? So those cultures are used to being more regulated and operating in a more regulated environment, right? And so I can see a world where some of like those types of countries adopt AI in a different way, where it's like you can use AI. But you have to train the juniors on, you have to, you know what I'm saying? Versus like what happened in America right now is like, we need to maximize corporate profits. And if we're riffing people, that's fucking great.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so like, I think there is risk that and usually, because like usually when you let the free market just go, like good things economically happen, right? Typically, or at least you can make that argument. You could make that argument.
Yeah.
Like highly regulated economies sometimes lag from an innovation perspective or an entrepreneurial perspective.
Right.
Maybe there's other things that they don't do or that they do great, right? That they don't do as well. But I think that there might be some success that those economies could have because they're a little bit more thoughtful about the worker.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about protecting workers.
Yeah.
And in some like the corporate profit mindset is like an AI might be just as an equivalence in terms of value to a business as a person. And in reality, if you have any type of moral compass, right, the person is more valuable than the AI, right?
Yeah. No, but it's not like with American capitalism. American capitalism would gladly fire every single employee if they could replace them with an AI, right? So restaurants absolutely are going to get gutted, right? Restaurants will be replaced with robots, no question. It's going to happen. And the days of people working at a fast food restaurant will be like in 10 years will be like, that's people actually did that job kind of thing. And so American capitalism could care less about couldn't care less, whatever the fucking saying is. About the actual worker, right? It's all about just giving the capitalist and the investors their money back. That's literally all they care about.
There is an end game though, if you do of where it's like, well, if you rip apart the demand side of your business, i.e., if you're reliant on American consumption,
Consumers.
which most American publicly traded companies are,
right.
Then you don't have that foresight, right? Because you operate on a quarterly perspective. So that's where I think. That's going back to the Canada thing. That's going back to the European thing. Mm-hmm. I think there's potentially an advantage to the European more regulated economies because they actually think about the worker.
Yeah.
And I think that's important right now.
Yeah.
It's always important.
I think it's going to be more important than ever.
Yeah.
And,
it is.
and we're gonna see where our approach for the capitalistic just bleed it out as much as possible will backfire in the long run because the human is not in the loop at all with what we consider.
Yeah, and right now, what is America really focused on right now from an AI perspective? They're focused on building humongous data centers.
Yeah.
Right? They're focused on figuring out who owns all the intellectual property, figuring out who owns it.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that's pretty much what they're doing.
Totally. Yeah, and the lawsuits, right? Like everybody trying to figure out the lawsuits. There was that one, the Claude paid that one author $1.5 billion.
I think it's distributed to a bunch of authors.
Was it multiple authors?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
But they're setting a precedent, though. So that's a company, I think, that's trying to set a precedent so that they don't get shellacked in the long term. They're going, hey, let's concede now and settle with these guys. Now we own their ass. Right. So they're not thinking of that as a settlement. They're thinking that as a purchase.
An investment. Yeah.
Right.
Right. No, that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, again, like, so yeah, again, going back to the Salesforce. Did we talk about the Salesforce thing last week or 2 weeks ago?
The 4,000.
Yeah. So you probably didn't watch this last week, 2 weeks. But Salesforce fires 4,500 customer service reps, and the CEO was gleeful about it that he just doesn't need that many heads because now AI can do this stuff. So I've got a friend who works at Salesforce, and he made this brilliant point, which was that Salesforce has like basically stuck their flag in that AI can do a lot for you and you don't need a bunch of employees. So they are inherently motivated to continue to decrease their.
You have to practice what you preach.
Exactly. So if you work at Salesforce, understand that they're gunning for you because they almost have to by their own brand voice and what their brand message is trying to say.
But I think there's a separate point about adoption. So, because I think, and I don't really know if this is what's going on in Canada, but if you look at it, you just go, the story that really is happening in Canada, and it's a story I hear with a lot of different CEOs. A lot of the AI adoption is coming from the ground up with employees. Mm-hmm. So the employer is trying to implement AI programs at their company, but really all the AI usage is ground level. like people going and finding tools and using them on their own to be more productive,
Right.
which is that's enabling an existing employee versus implementing some massive thing. And that's what you're seeing, but I think if you look at it like how we're focused, just nation state, we're kind of chasing the investment dollar aspect of it.
Right.
Right.
And these other ones, like China, they're kind of seeing the long game.
Yes.
Right.
And here's the problem with chasing the investment dollar. Things change quickly.
Very.
And if you overinvest in something because you think you think this reality is going to be the same reality, you're screwing up. Yeah. You're making fundamental mistakes, like .com bubble, housing crisis, right? Like, don't make an assumption that something that, like, here's a huge assumption: we need massively new data centers and as much silicon as possible, or to manage all this stuff. But look what's going on in China right now.
Exactly.
Which brings us to our second topic.
Yep.
There's a paper coming out from a research group in China.
I lost my dad. There it is. Okay.
Hold on, we got the name.
Yeah. Chinese Academy of Sciences Institute of Automation in Beijing.
They came out and basically said, you know what? Every time these large language models process through information, they're processing the whole damn thing in a way that the human brain doesn't operate that way. Right. You don't, when you read a book, you don't read the entire book in one.
Yep.
You read one page at a time, and you leave out. Your brain is focusing on a single aspect of things at once. And they supposedly have built a new architecture that uses less energy.
Right.
That focuses the effort on the problem.
Yeah. They're calling it spiking brain and spiking brain 1.0, and so it's designed to use less energy and operate on homegrown Chinese hardware rather than chips from NVIDIA.
Which they banned NVIDIA, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So like, this is what we talked about this a while back, is like, what I think the most exciting thing about AI is not AI, but the things that will come out of it for people trying to innovate and keep up. It's a space race all over again.
Exactly.
Like, we're going to come out with what was the pen? The Russians just used a pencil, but we used the pen that works in zero gravity. Like, I don't know how useful that was, but there was just thousands of inventions that came out of the space race that we use every single day that have applications outside of a spaceship going up to the moon, right? We're going to do the same shit for AI. Yeah. There's going to be all these innovations that's like, well, if this computer can process that stuff a lot faster, it can probably do other applications or whatever. So like, that's what I'm most excited about. Is like, I think AI has a lot of benefits and upside, but I think it's just us all trying to race to this goal line, and the things we'll come up with along the way that are going to be awesome.
100%. Because like, I think what we're seeing here, like with China, is the moment that you put restrictions on humans, right? They're going to get creative. And what we did is we basically said, hey, China, you're not able to have access to all of these high-end GPUs.
Totally dumb, because now they're just going to go figure out how to do more with less.
Exactly.
But we also will probably figure out how to do more with more.
well,
that's the problem.
I know.
We're creating this. We're creating our own worst enemy, which is we're creating all this infrastructure to do work that doesn't even exist yet.
Yeah. And on a architecture that it doesn't need to be, and that if we actually had the restraints on us, that we would probably figure out how to do it without having to burn down a forest, just every time we answer a question. That you could be like, oh yeah, well maybe we model this after the human brain, and that's exactly what these folks in China.
But so okay, so economics is the allocation of scarce resources, right? But America hasn't functioned like from an economist's mindset in a long time. It doesn't matter if you burn down the fucking rainforest.
They don't care.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the rivers dry up, because that's not what drives quarterly earnings. And that's the problem right now with the AI strategy that America has, right? Is it's not really an America first strategy. And it's a Wall Street first strategy.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think you're right. We are betting on something, and we have, planted our flag on the ground of like, maybe we have to have the most chips and the biggest data centers and all that. But like, maybe that's not what's going to win it all.
No,
The other thing that's happening is we're desperately trying to figure out better ways to create energy. So we've made a ton of advancements, and
That's true.
That's a really good.
That's true.
one thing that's
That's the true American way.
that's the second one thing. Now, the best outcome out of all of this would be we solve, what is it, fusion, or I always get them.
It's going to be clean coal, dude.
Yeah, clean coal. Now, the greatest outcome of all of this crap could be, we now have unlocked how to create unlimited amount of energy, because
that would be the American way, right? It's like, well, we don't have enough power. We need more power. Go get it. Go figure it out.
Versus like trying to restrain ourselves and like figure out, can we do this more intelligently? We're just brute force.
So you've got, let's just make a couple assumptions that none of them may be that true, but you basically have your regulated economies, your regulated nation states that are thinking about it from a worker's perspective, and that might give them an advantage. Mm-hmm. Their advantage is it's worker first. They, everybody, it's like equal. Everybody gets to learn the AI and use the AI, right? We do that with minimal job loss. Mm-hmm. You have places like China that are like, we got to figure out how we're even going to do this. And so they figure out how to run all the same tech on less hardware, less energy. Yeah. And we're just burn it all down. But in the process, we'll probably figure out fusion.
Totally. Yeah. Right. You hope. Yeah.
And that's kind of like, I guess at some level, what a competition's all about.
Right.
Right. Is everybody's got their advantage, and they've got the ability to, try to leverage and use their advantage.
Yep.
And you kind of see how it plays out. Yeah. If there's no competition, there's no reason. So like,
true.
So we'll see.
Was that a brilliant segue into competition for our next thing that we want to talk about?
Oh yeah. Talk about competition. You want to talk about the vibe coding?
We want to talk about the vibe coding competition.
Well, we got,
what, next week?
Yeah. So, are you excited?
No, I'm not. I'm fucking like, I can't believe I signed up for this bullshit.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm like, can I get out of this? I'm wondering if I could just
You're not allowed to bail.
I won't. I'll fucking show up. No, so I'm part of, so Sean and I were part of rallies, I forget what it was, a few months ago, where we gave presentations about AI and coding or whatever. And then these two chaps from Rose Holman come up and they're like, hey, if you'd be willing to do it, we'd love to form a team with you. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I said yes. But these two kids are like, they're geniuses, and they're like building new ways of like generating glass like lenses and stuff. I mean, they're like off the chart smart. So I'm actually excited to see like what they kind of come up with and whatnot, and trying to help them. But yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to this at all.
So I'll drop I'm the architect, which means I don't compete, but I have I'm basically like the ringmaster. So, but we're dropping the project briefs on Tuesday. So 48 hours before the competition, you'll have the 4 project briefs.
Okay. So help me understand how that works. So if you're going to have 4 projects briefed, do the teams get to pick one of the briefs, or is it that you don't actually know which brief is going to be picked?
Don't know. Oh. You're going to have to pick it out of a hat.
Okay. So that's very similar to what Cornelius and I did when we competed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Cornelius signed up.
Yeah. So I saw he's part of it. And so he and I got into it. Like, we went hard. We got into a big argument.
Are you guys going to fight?
No, he would kick my ass. He's a former.
Oh my God. He's
huge. But so he's about my height, but he's twice as thick as me. And he's a former MMA guy. Oh. So he actually did MMA, and you could tell. I mean, he's jacked to the tits, right? Like, he's huge. But no, I think having him in there is really exciting, because he brings a whole different type of, because he's not a former developer, right? He says he's not a developer, and that's where he and I completely disagree. I'm like, no, you're a new breed of developer. You just don't know it yet. Like, you're thinking about data models, you're thinking about, your requirements, you're thinking through all of this stuff, and that you're a new breed of developer. But he pretends that everybody can just do what he does. And he doesn't realize that he actually has smarts that other people don't have. And so that's where he and I just completely disagree. So it'll be interesting to see when we kind of interact with each other. But I think he brings a whole different energy and a whole different kind of approach to vibe coding stuff. So it will be really interesting to see what he does. At the same time, I'm also excited because, like, some of the people that you're saying that are part of the team, I mean, like, we got some heavy fucking hitters that are going to be part of this.
Yeah, there's some. So basically, you just applied to be online to be a part of the competition, and I reviewed all the applications and then interviewed people and tried to pick who I thought would do the best. Yeah. There's one group from who's got a team that's like three brothers. Two of them work on Wall Street, the other works at Apple.
Oh shit.
And then there's two kids from Louisville coming up that both work at startups. And this one guy, he told in his interview, his day job is he's building a vibe coding platform at his company. And then he's also does hackathons. Like that's his hobby. He said he's won the last 4 that he's entered.
Nice.
Hackathons are fun.
Was he doing vibe coding hackathons kind of thing?
I mean, I think I think it's like synonymous now.
Right.
There's some local teams too that are from like software development.
And so
companies around here.
It's happening here next week in Indianapolis. When's Rally start?
Rally starts Wednesday.
And how does the vibe coding competition overlay with that? And I'm asking because once again, I have no concept.
It's basically the first day and morning.
Okay.
So if you guys start, you guys will show up at Elevate 11:30 a.m. Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll draw out of the hat. They're playing that hype video.
Yep.
At noon, and then it'll kick over to everyone at Rally is going to see our live stream.
Oh, shit.
Because it's live streamed.
That's cool.
And on Twitch. And we'll send out the link. We can post that we should post that in the video.
Yeah.
It'll be live streamed, and then at I think it's 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. Everyone has to at 6 a.m. they have to submit the repo and the demo link, and the finalists be chosen between 8 and 8:20.
Okay.
And then the 3 final teams on Thursday morning, and the 3 final teams, everyone's going to come out on stage. The 3 finalists will be announced, and they have to present in front of everyone at Rally.
Oh, cool.
And then there's 3 judges, and they will be watching the presentations, and they'll select the winner.
Is okay. All right. Cool.
When was the last time you stayed up for 24 hours straight?
Probably was another hackathon.
Really?
I did. Yeah. We did AT&T had a civic hackathon. And Farm Bureau participated, and we actually came up with Animate, which was a Tinder for farm animals. Fucking great. I threw it out as a joke. I'm like, why don't we do a Tinder for farm animals just as a joke? And the CTO of Farm Bureau was like, you actually don't understand how good of an idea that is. So she does animal husbandry. And so there's a whole thing where you're trying to find the right mates for your cattle or your goats or your whatever. And she's like, I once drove down to Louisville to thinking that I'm going to go find this great stud of a goat or whatever it was. And I get down there and there's this raggedy ass goat. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. And so we actually ended up building the whole team. I was just pretty much like the cheerleader. I wasn't doing any of the coding stuff, but the team ended up building a whole fucking Tinder for farm animals. And one of the team, Samya came up with the name. She's like, we should call it Animate. And I'm like, that is genius. Just absolutely genius.
The first thing I thought of was like the animals would be using it.
Yeah.
Well, kind of a cheat code on this, I think, will be the which I think you can bring to your team. And I think I would suggest is, if you get to the top 3, that presentation is important, key. Which means you probably should spend a little time coming up with the name of the product 100%. And a little bit of a logo, something to give some flair.
That's I think where I'm going to be focused. I don't think I'm going to do much coding. Like I'll kind of help with design. I'll come up with the branding. I'll come up
ideation.
And ideation, and then potentially the pitch as well. But yeah, in terms of my whole hesitation, like when you originally kind of kicked out the idea of me, it was like, again, like you guys don't understand just how violent I get when I'm vibe coding.
Well, I don't think that you can, I don't think that, you can, I don't think that you can work with others, code with others for 18 hours.
No, probably not. No. I mean, so I can direct that for sure.
You can direct it.
But,
I agree.
But coding it, no. Like again, like
you're either coding it or you're not.
Exactly.
Like I think if you're, and I think you will. I think they'll give you certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll probably figure out a way. But if if it was like kind of wishy-washy, I think you would get frustrated.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I would too.
Oh yeah. No, so I think because really where I think where a lot of times what happens when you're doing the vibe coding thing is that the interface and the UI that these things generate are just completely uninspired. It's just the most basic bullshit that you would expect any like junior developer to come up with and just generate this UI, and it's janky as shit. So I think that that's where like you could potentially, as long as you have kind of like, you know, a design mindset, that you could probably present better as well just by having say, okay, we're gonna actually do our own design versus just letting the AI kind of make all of its own design decisions.
You don't think this design is beautiful?
I think it's functional as hell.
Yeah.
Jake, so Jacob's getting married in 2 weeks, and
It's not 2 weeks, is it?
It's like 3.
Oh shit.
22 days.
So do I have to have a fancy suit?
No.
Okay.
You just
Good.
have to wear, do you have a suit?
I got something that makes me look like I'm not a scrub.
It's fine.
Okay. All right. My wife's very concerned because she's very much a rule follower, which is funny because I don't give a fuck about any of the rules. And so she's like, I'm telling you that it's all, and I'm like, well, I don't think it's as formal as you think.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
What's funny about that, I was invited to a neighbor's party last week, and she was like, wear chic like cocktail attire. So I came in like dress pants, a nice shirt,
Right.
you know, like a nice black shirt. She's wear black or gray or blue.
she was in yoga pants.
No, she was dressed to the nines. She looked great, but no one else came dressed like that. So there was like 3 people. Me and Shivangi. Shivangi had like that's my fiance. She had you guys know that. They don't know that. She had like this nice dress on, like cocktail dress, and we're just sitting there, and like this dude's just sitting there in like Crocs and stuff. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess we could have like not dressed up as much, but for the wedding, yeah, you need a black tuxedo, and you have to look like James Bond, or I will boot your ass out so fast.
Good. Okay. That means I'm not showing up.
People dress so horribly. It's the number one problem that bothers me. Like now, there's a difference between like you don't dress bad, Brandon. You just don't wear suits.
No, I don't. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's like people that just like literally just wear sweatpants or Crocs.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. So like the trend at colleges is changing again.
Okay.
You know how like young people were just wearing like absolutely like just I think it was like a COVID thing even,
Right.
just like sweats, and they looked like even you'd go to like a football game, like a Big Ten football game down south. Dude, it's different now. I'm not going to spoil it, but go to a.
What are you talking about? Like, what are they wearing? Are they dressing up as furries? Or are they wearing tuxedos?
Yeah, I saw litter box.
I don't know if I can say it on air.
Yeah, fuck yeah, you can't.
All right.
Go for it.
Cowboy boots and mini skirts.
Really?
Yes. I saw 150 cowboy boots and mini skirts
No
at the
shit.
IU Indiana State football game.
What are they wearing? So the people who are wearing the cowboy boots, are these women?
Yes. No men.
No kidding.
The guys look, normal day average guy.
But okay, so we're saying that the women's trend is that they're going mini skirt kind of.
It's like the Nashville thing. It's like everybody went down to Nashville and came back with the same style.
Hot. Well, we're also getting the baggy pants back now.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny to see how that works, right? Like you'd think that things are changing.
I'm looking forward to the baggy pants. I was in high school in the 90s, and so we had the pants that literally.
You had were you a Genko boy?
No, I wasn't. I mean, but I was more of a skinhead than anything, if we're being honest. So I had my combat boots. I had my fucking things rolled up. I had my head shaved. I had a huge goatee. I had a mohawk for a while. Bad era. Nevertheless, I'm a huge fan of the baggy pants now. I've got a couple of my own that I wear, and I'm like, God, that's right. These are comfortable as hell.
I wore Jinkos, yeah.
I never did.
Yeah, I was
Did you skate?
once, and then I did an ollie and twisted my ankle, and then I said, "No, that's ain't for me."
Yeah. See, I was friends. So all my friends were the skaters in high school, and I never could skate. I didn't have.
I did have an AIM username was Skater Boy something.
Oh, you did not. Tell me it's BOI.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I think I was trying to impress some girl that was really into skating or something.
Mine was like a Odyssey. I think like Odyssey 13, and my buddy was Jebediah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this up. What is the So if we have an 18-hour, let's just do a quick prediction and we'll recap it on the next podcast. So we've got 10 teams from different backgrounds. Most are software developers. They all have to build a product in 18 hours. Do you think the products will be any good?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Especially if the item, if the thing that you're building is not just like the normal, right, like the normal thing that everybody wants you to build or whatever it is. So I think that it's going to, and the end result is there's probably going to be 2 or 3 of these things that if you would combine together, it would be like the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah. I personally think that teams are going to struggle if they haven't done this before with vibe coding as a team.
Yes,
like
that's true. That's a big challenge.
I
vibed this thing in like 3 hours, and it's pretty good.
So tell everybody what you built.
Oh yeah, okay. So my fiance was using the a seating chart app that was provided to us by the planner and
for your wedding.
For the wedding, and it wasn't very good. She wanted to be able to see like the layout and then like where the people were actually being assigned to the table, because
like the layout of the room.
Yeah, the layout of the room. Ooh. And like, easily click a person and add them to a table. And I was like, I could build that. It's fine. And I built this thing in like 3 hours or whatever, and it's pretty good. It's all local, so like there's no database, there's nothing like that. But
still, so it's local, a Cloud Code, I assume.
Yeah, I use Cloud Code. I did start in Lovable, and right away I just jumped out of that because one, the UI was way better, but like basic stuff wasn't working, like deleting a table or adding a user, and like I was like, I could iterate on this, but I would much rather
I'm out on Lovable.
Me too. So Lovable is if you're a CEO and you have an idea, Lovable is what you
and you want to go piss everyone on your team off.
Exactly.
Because you're going to create literally the opposite of an MVP.
It's going to be the opposite of an MVP, but it lets you work through a bunch of ideas. It lets you work through some things, and at the end of it, come out with like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. But if it's super important that that you have to have restraint, and if you don't have restraint,
you're going to do what you
you're going to end up having a product that's going to cost you $80 million to fucking build. So you have to then go and be like, all right, let me go talk to some customers, show them some things, figure out what they gravitate towards, and then start stripping out all the shit that you added that no one's going to build or for the next 5 years.
So I actually think that Lovable is actually more of a poor man's Figma replacement for people that would never have the patience to learn how to do any design. But it's like,
they're getting though to like $1 billion a month.
I know.
It's crazy how fast
and I think that they're going to close the gap to where at some point, like the Supabase integration and the data layers will be okay,
right?
And you'll be able to build like because their end game is you can never eject off their platform,
right?
You will continue to your app will live there.
Well, kind of though, because like you can sync it to GitHub,
sure,
and then you can pull it down, and you can still kind of get in there. But like the moment that you do that, you split it off. You're never interacting with it again.
That's not what they want.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But the other thing about Lovable, why I'm out on Lovable is because I've fully adopted the Codex into my workflow. OpenAI's Codex is now. So my workflow for vibe coding is such: planning the product, the database, the technical requirements all occurs in a ChatGPT conversation, which gets encapsulated into requirements and sent to Cursor. Cursor then takes it all and creates an implementation plan that we just update in a README file. Right. But if there's complicated UI design or pages that need to get drafted or created, like Jacob and I have been iterating on this calendar UI all week long on this one ChatGPT conversation. Well, Cursor's not really good at that. Right. But the Codex was great.
Is it good?
And now I'm parallel. Now I'm going parallel. Right. So I've got Cursors noodling over here and it's using their cloud. I'm burning tokens over here. I'm burning tokens over here. But there's an efficiency, right? Because that's happening on the browser, and I'm separating the concerns a little bit, but like the UI that we're getting, I mean, I told, hey, Codex, we need to build a ShadCN based availability calendar system, blah, blah, blah. Here's the requirements. It iterates. it's still very much in the like Stone Age where it's like has to update every single. It goes line by line.
Right.
You know, where Cursor's just like.
Dude, Cursor's got some crazy shit that they do on theirs. It's insane. But I want to play around with Codex for sure. Now, so are you doing Codex just through the terminal then, or do you have an extension as well?
I just am going to ChatGPT. I accidentally started using it.
Oh no shit!
Because I asked it to build something and it started writing the code, and then I saw the preview button. I was like, oh, I'm in the Codex.
Oh, because now they have the CLI for Codex that's just like Claude Code or just like Gemini CLI.
I'm thinking that I like the kind of the lovable replacement aspect of it, where you're doing everything in a ChatGPT conversation,
and then you just preview,
and then you preview, and then it's kind of out. So then you're like, instead of it just being, because there's like a marriage when you bring something in your code base immediately, there's risk.
Yeah, right. Oh no, that's a really good point. Yeah. So I actually ended up getting into a whole argument with ChatGPT because I'm like, well, hey, just
What a surprise!
I'm like, just render this just just render it in the code view thing that I saw, and it's like I can't do that. I'm like, what the fuck you mean you can't do that? I'm like, of course you can do it. I saw it. I was like, click the preview button, and then you ran the code. It's like, no, I don't have that capability. I'm like, I promise you have this fucking capability. And so then I kept screaming at it, and eventually I asked it to do something else, and then sure as shit, it's like, give me the preview, and I'm like, what are you dickhead? This is what I'm fucking talking about.
So this is where I get super paranoid. So I've been working on a large project on and off for about 3 months. I have had the same conversation with Cursor the entire time. I never once pressed new tab.
No.
Never.
No.
Never.
Oh
it's been
God.
the same conversation
crazy.
the entire time.
That's crazy.
And I'm telling you what, I know it does. I think that does something to summarize the conversation.
It does the summarizing, like when you get to 100%, it does the summary and it brings it down to like 30 or whatever. But you just keep raw dogging it.
Every time I open it up, I go, I'm bad. And it goes, and it knows to kind of reload the RAM.
That's crazy, dude. I create a new chat damn near every time I'm done with something. I'm just like, all right, new chat, because I hate that percentage marker that it shows me. I'm just like, I start getting anxiety about it.
I ran out of tokens on Claude Code for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It warned me but it was resetting in like an hour. But I don't. This is the first full Vibe project I've ever done.
Right.
So I haven't run into it as much as like you guys do. But yeah, I was like, oh shit, I'm out of tokens. That sucks.
Yeah. No.
I also I have a question for you for the Cursor folks. There's so many people on Reddit that complain about the cost and there's certain things. I have not had problems.
No, I haven't either.
I think I got a couple weeks ago, like I was going bananas, and I was pretty sure I was getting throttled.
Right.
But like for the most part, and lately, it's been really fast. How's it been for you?
I wonder if that's like a function of like I use it fairly sparingly. Like,
right.
If there's like a big task, like okay, I want to move this thing into a component, I'm probably just gonna cut it and paste it into a new file, and I know how to make that in about 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But if you didn't do that, you would say, hey, move it over. Well, that's a lot of
I
tokens.
don't do shit.
Did you just tell it? So I'm kind of in the middle of you two, right? Like where I'll go and I'll do a lot myself, but then I'll also be like, all right, I want to start with a whole new feature. Here's everything that you need to follow. Go and do it. But I'm the same way. I've yet to ever get like, I'm on the $20 a month, but I also have that like
pay as you go. Yeah, me too.
But I still haven't gotten any like bills out of the question.
No.
So
I think I think their billing is like, and their measurement is messed up.
It's gonna be right.
Sometimes I go and I look at it and I'm like, but there's nothing even on this graph. Like, I think they're just literally burning the rainforest. Like, we're going to wake up one day, the Amazon's gone. And of course, there's going to be like, we fucked up. We burned all the tokens. We needed more tokens, so we went and burnt the rainforest.
But we have an app that lets you pick your tables that you're working on. So, hey, fuck the birds.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Did you see Gemini's latest updates where they're like, if you go to Gemini right now, it'll be like, of course, it's not doing it now, but it was like this whole banana.
The nano banana.
And then it was like, make yourself, and it was just showing all these fun, playful things. I'm like, all right, that is cool. But like, how many people are just uploading an image of themselves and then creating 30 different versions? And it's like,
So
we're just gonna burn the rainforest down so I can have a
GQ looking photo of myself.
I did put a tutu on my dog. That was fun.
So the Nano Banana, what's funny about Nano Banana is, in terms of like generating a new image, it's dog shit. It's horrible. The new images that it generates from scratch are awful. But if you take an image and then you have it do its edits, it's amazing.
Did you see the one where I took my dogs and put them together and then put hats on them?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll see that too. But yeah, it was for my nephew's birthday. I put I put big birthday hats that said "Happy Birthday, Henry," and there was like balloons. But it was perfect because it was my dogs can't be out together, but he watches them all the time. So I was like, I took 2 pictures of them both in the family room in like similar places, and then it just spliced it together perfectly.
Yeah. So it's amazing for editing. Amazing.
What if there was a premise around? I was just thinking about how bad Apple's image playground was.
Mm-hmm. It's so bad,
and it hasn't been updated. I used it the other day on my new Mac Mini. It's still so bad.
Yeah.
But like, what if there's a world where Apple accidentally wins again?
They could
because
they waited.
Because they waited 100%. So Apple didn't do shit with AI.
Nope.
But I wonder if they're just so. There's a chance that they're just so fucking smart. Because they're like, this is what Steve would have told us to do. He would have said, wait till the technology is good enough to fit on the iPhone, to fit in the M1, in the M4, right? Well, what if these papers out of China, what if they start, what if everyone starts zeroing in on the math,
that'd be amazing.
Right? And then they can ship everything onto your computer, and you never have to go to the internet to use the AI.
That's how they win. If they can get using this again, use the China model, to do this new LLM. If they can get an LLM that can run on device, completely private, and not only is it an LLM on your device, it becomes your LLM because it learns all you. 100%.
And then talk to me a little bit about the small language model revolution.
Right. So this came out of my biggest client. They're a huge enterprise. Everything it's a heavily regulated industry. So they're always worried about making sure that anything that's happening from an AI doesn't necessarily leak out and whatnot. So one of the things that they want to explore is actually using specifically GPT's or ChatGPT's open source. So GPT OSS, which is an open source model that ChatGPT just released, to do some training, like to create a small language model instead of doing just traditional RAG, where you upload a bunch of documents and you have a database and you try to get the retrieval and you try to get the answers and you give it to an LLM, that you actually train an LLM on the documents themselves. And it's an interesting angle that I think with the GPT OSS is actually a very capable large language model that you can run locally on your own hardware. And that if you can then train it on all the documents and all the rules and all that kind of stuff, then all of a sudden you just get a hyper specialized knowledge agent that you can just deploy within your own organization and not ever worry about that shit getting, trained or getting leaked to the police or getting cracked or whatever.
Yeah, love is strong. Notebook LM, I think, solved that problem, but in the cloud.
Okay, yeah.
And like, it's really, really good at like, give it a bunch of, but you have to curate it. It has to be like your stuff, and that's where it's powerful. Is like, especially if you're researching a specific topic. So it's like I'm in grad school and I have these 30 different papers that I'm trying to research and look at. It's really good at that, right? But it's not good at privacy and like all the things that you're talking about. So like, I totally agree that's would be a huge advantage to
how many billions and billions and billions of dollars have been wasted by corporations that immediately went to, let's put all our data through the LLM and then we can just ask it questions and all of our problems that we've ever had will be solved.
And you just constantly are running into all the different problems that happen with that. And you're just like, oh shit, this doesn't scale. Like, and I've run into that. So another one of my clients, that's a big thing that I've been working with them on, is to be able to take these like super thick franchise documents and turn them into like knowledge agents, right? And so much of it comes down to, okay, it's like, well, we're not just going to do your normal chunking. Because like usually what happens when you do the chunking, you're like, okay, we're going to take this, we're going to turn it into text, we're going to go from 0 to 500.
You just went from let's enable our our employees to use AI and stuff to literally adopt, like inheriting every problem ever known to man in IT.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's bad. And so you really do have to go and basically break this down. And so even when we're thinking about these small language models, the same exact thing. Give me a PDF, but now I need to understand the sections of the PDF. I need to understand what some questions might be about those sections of the PDFs. And you're going to go and you're going to chunk all of those individually. You're going to have a chunk or a vector for your content, your summary of your tags, of your title, of all of that. And all of those things are what you actually search against. And then you do this kind of re-ranking stuff. So there's a lot of really interesting shit that's happening with that. But I think the small language model could be a good way of, but again, with the RAG solutions, it's if content's changing a lot, the RAG is the best way to go, because like with a small language model, you're going to basically train this thing. And just like we all know, is like once you finish training, the knowledge is basically static at that point. And so that's one thing that we have to kind of explore. But nevertheless, I am excited that, this is
but that's a constraint I feel like you can live with if in some ways.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Like the whole, everything's going to always be updated and blah, blah, blah,
right,
blah.
Right.
It's like, that's kind of a pie in the sky dream. Now, I'm sure there's some companies that have gotten really good at this. Like,
sure.
Even like your work with prompt privacy, they were figuring stuff out.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That. But I know that not all of these projects have been successful.
Oh, God, no.
Right.
I'm kind of surprised that Algulia hasn't. Well, they have an AI search now. They're very, very focused on product discovery and like stores and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
and they're really, really good at it. Like in like, recommendation engines and those kinds of things. Like, but I'm also like, well, wouldn't they be very good at, because their whole thing is they're a managed search engine essentially that does instant searches and relevancy and fuzzy and all that stuff, which is a really hard problem. Yeah. But they manage the infrastructure and indexing it is super easy, right? Like you're just like, hey, when I update the thing, go push it up there. When I delete. When I all that, it's super easy to implement. But yeah, I wonder if they're a kind of a sleeper company to watch.
Very well could be.
Yeah,
right.
Although they're insanely expensive, so maybe that's the problem. They're just making too much money servicing their current clients. They're like, never mind.
All right. Well, so we've got different ways to adopt AI. You've got the world changing, people doing more with less. We've got a massive vibe coding competition happening next week. We'll see what happens. We'll report back. And I think next, I'm going to throw it out there right now. Our next episode, I would like to dive deep into Amazon's new business AI offerings.
Okay.
Because there's a shit ton of them.
So that's funny enough, because that big regulated industry that I was talking about is all about, now you put the camera on me, goddammit. They're all in Bedrock, AWS.
Yep. So we got to, Amazon's got some really, Amazon's like, you know what? We've got to figure out how businesses are actually going to want to use our cloud.
100%.
And so there's going to be acronyms that we talk about that you've never heard of.
Right.
Like processes that they've thought through. And they had their big product announcement about a month ago, and I watched the webinar and I was completely fucking blown away.
Right. Yeah,
so
that's good.
That's a good one. And maybe we can do some proof of concept work. So anyways, this has been the Big Cheese AI podcast. We will see you guys after the vibe coding competition. Take care.